Congressman Roemer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to welcome all three of you here today. You've really been extremely helpful to us in helping us look forward and help us try to come up with some answers to some of these very vexing and complicated problems. Congressman Hamilton, I want to especially welcome you before the committee as both a colleague from Indiana and a good personal friend. We welcome your very extensive testimony. I want to quote back from a line in your testimony, which I think is extremely important to us today with the current threat that we have in the world, and as we may be going into Iraq to do something about weapons of mass destruction. Your quote is, "If we were starting all over again, and I cannot imagine we would create such a vast enterprise and have no one clearly in charge," unquote. And we still have that system out there today. What do you think specifically we can do about this problem? And how big a problem is it?
I think it's a very large problem. I think you have two basic options. The one option is to try to strengthen the DCI. And I certainly don't oppose that effort because I think that needs to be done. I also think it's a very incrementalist approach that we've been trying for many years, and we've never been really satisfied with the results we've gotten. The other option is to go to a director of national intelligence that I've been arguing for, and obviously there's some problems with that as well. But those are the two options, and I think you have to make a choice between them. I favor the director of national intelligence. The criticism that Judge Webster and others have made is that it may not, I think Fred as well may not be realistic. There's something to that criticism. I mean, I understand it's a very tough thing to achieve.
Congressman, you were just...
Mr. Roemer, may I just say that we're in a new period, and we've simply got to think anew here.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And we've got to put aside the way we've always done business. And the way we've always done business is if we give a little extra power to the DCI, things are going to be okay. It's not going to be okay.
You were just talking about the creation of a Homeland Security Department where we all would probably have our complaints or criticisms about this part or that part, but it's an attempt by the administration to centralize power and agencies, disparate agencies, under one roof. That's what you're suggesting here as well.
That's correct. I'm looking for a way to improve, I guess, visibility and accountability in the intelligence community. I've gotten to the place where the very phrase intelligence community I dislike because it's too vague. And one of the great problems in government always is accountability and getting someone to take the responsibility, and I'm looking for that. But I really think the quality of your intelligence will improve if you have a single person over all aspects of the intelligence community and have responsibility for budgeting and personnel. I'm going to comment on Senator Graham's business on personnel in a moment. Yeah.
With respect to, again for Congressman Hamilton, with respect to the need for a creation of an independent commission, how do you feel about that?
I favor it. I think that I come from the point of view that we need more, not less, oversight of the intelligence community that is independent of the executive branch. And I think this committee has performed a very important service in the last few months and weeks, but I don't think you've finished the job. I think there's a lot more to be done. It's terribly important how we go about this. We ought not to be saying, I'm looking for somebody to blame. We ought to be looking ahead and saying, what were the problems in the system that brought about the shortcomings, and how can we correct them? Now, you and I know that there are a lot of commissions in this town, some good, some bad, some indifferent. So it makes all the difference who you put on the commission. And I think there are a lot of good Republicans, and I think there are a lot of good Democrats who can serve effectively on this commission and do the service, do the country well, a great service. I don't worry about a little redundancy here or a little overlap. Indeed, I think it's probably good, because it's hard to get this town to move on anything, and you need a lot of people looking at any given problem. I know you've been a primary supporter of this in the House. I applaud that effort. I also understand the hesitation of the Bush administration, and maybe some of you here, about this, and you'll say, well, this is going to be used to hang us or point out people who made big mistakes. I don't see it that way at all. And but we do have to be sensitive to that concern, I believe. But I think a real service can be rendered by further oversight by you, by the committees, but also an independent commission as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.